Hello everyone, this is AndresRestart, and today we are talking about how, all of a sudden, there is a growing amount of people that are starting to think that Nintendo may finally be teasing the Switch 2. Should we dare to hype so irresponsibly? Could this actually be the case? Is there any rhyme or reason behind this? And should we feel confident in what's being suggested here regarding a reveal? Could it be happening soon? Well, there is a theory that's starting to cause a little bit of a stir that might support a little bit of this thinking. So I would like to get into this overall conversation on whether Nintendo is teasing the Switch 2 or not, and if there is any meat behind this idea of a reveal happening really soon, like this week soon. But before going forward, let me ask that if you do enjoy my content, to please subscribe and hit that notification bell. So perhaps the event that has caused the most amount of conversation surrounding Nintendo teasing a Switch 2 reveal is this tweet from yesterday, where Nintendo of America said, 10 out of 10 landing, Mario and Luigi brothership, and here it's a gif of Mario making a landing and Luigi going headfirst into the ground here. So that's the tweet. And I will tell you, at first glance, I didn't think that this was referencing October 10th as something special. I just thought, oh, it's kind of weird that they're showing 10 out of 10. My first thought was like, oh, is there a review score for Mario and Luigi already? Which, no, it's too soon for something like that. And then upon closer thought, I thought, well, okay, well maybe this is, just referencing like the Olympics where you make a nice landing. I mean, the Olympics did just end not so long ago, so I think that's maybe some reasonable thinking there. However, I then came to realize that a lot of people were thinking, oh, could they be referencing October 10th? And I thought, that's interesting. And we even saw Paul Gale here reply and said, double meaning? Excellent landing, scoring Mario 10 out of 10 points. And also, Nintendo Switch successor information landing on October 10th, with kind of like a shy, embarrassed emoji. To be clear, Paul Gale, while well connected, has publicly talked about his theory of October 10th, and some people are latching onto this thinking, oh, does he know for sure that it's going to be October 10th? And I don't think he for sure knows October 10th. He's told us he does not for sure know it's October 10th. Does he have reason to think that October 10th is a pretty good candidate for a reveal? Sure, he probably does. I believe that. But also, being a strong candidate does not mean 100%. So, I do think we should dial it back a little bit here. And just thinking about this possibility of Nintendo teasing that there would be the October 10th date with a Mario and Luigi GIF, I think that's unlikely, because we look at the history of tweets from Nintendo of America, and there really isn't anything like this, nothing so specific. Perhaps the closest thing we've ever gotten is going back to 2018. More than 6.5 years ago, January 10th, 2018, Nintendo of America posted this Chibi Robo on Fire picture. And what's fascinating about this is that, yeah, there was a Nintendo Direct that was announced right afterwards, a Nintendo Direct Mini. But there wasn't any Chibi Robo in the Direct. And during this time, there was a great deal of excitement and hype and conversation surrounding the Nintendo Direct. This is still early on in the Switch 2 era. People are eager for more news on what games will be coming out in the early parts of 2018. And so this image came out, and it did kind of feel like, yeah, whoever was behind the social media account for Nintendo of America at the time was definitely making some reference to the conversation surrounding a Direct. But there's a couple things here. One, they might not have known with 100% certainty that a Nintendo Direct was about to happen. They might have simply been buying into the conversation, and they posted this to engage in that conversation a little bit without stating something specifically, with the belief that a Direct would likely happen soon. And then there's also, yes, the possibility that they did know a Direct was about to happen, and so they posted this to engage there in a very subtle, ambiguous, vague way that doesn't clearly state anything. From either perspective, I don't think that fits the mold in terms of what's going on with this current tweet with the 10 out of 10 landing that some people think is directly referencing an October 10th reveal for Switch 2. I think that's too specific, and I also would like to speak more on the idea that this person here may not even know when the Switch 2 reveal is happening. Even if the Switch 2 reveal is indeed happening on the 10th, which by the way I think there's a solid chance of, I don't think the person who put out this tweet even knows for sure that that's when it's happening. I feel like something that big might not be left to someone who's just responsible for creating engagement with the Nintendo of America account. There might be someone else that's entirely responsible for the bigger, more important tweets revealing or announcing a direct or presentation of some kind. Or if the social media person behind this tweet is responsible for also making those other bigger tweets, then they might not learn about it until right before it happens. And we're still days away before October 10th. This is on the 5th, this is the 10th. That's 5 days. There's still some time there. I don't think it would be happening then. Let's also remind ourselves that this was on the weekend, right? I'm recording this on a Sunday, the 6th. This is on the 5th, a Saturday. Business days are a thing. Important things happen during the business week. I don't think someone was given the green light to start teasing the Switch 2 on a Saturday. That just seems unlikely to me. Now, something that I do think might have a little bit more validity in terms of thinking that Nintendo is teasing something are these different images that are coming out from the Nintendo Museum, how people are noticing that there is clearly a spot for their next generation console. And so I do think this is teasing the future of Nintendo. I do think when we see openings in the Nintendo Museum that clearly have one more spot towards the future, yeah, they are teasing the Switch 2. I totally think that's 100% the case. But I also don't think that's anything crazy. They're not saying anything crazy, they're just suggesting that there is a future. And of course, there is a future. And Nintendo's already officially acknowledged the Switch 2. On May 7th, they said that they would be giving us an official announcement on the Switch 2 or the successor Switch console before the end of the fiscal year. So yes, they are technically teasing the Switch 2, I would say, but it doesn't really tell us much. But with that all said, I do think the October 10th date might have some meat to it. We've already discussed in the past how this upcoming week seems to be a pretty solid opportunity to make a big reveal because there's no major game coming out this week, and it's the first full proper week of the month where we have seen big announcements like this in the past from Nintendo. It could happen. But also, there are still several other opportunities in the month of October for a Switch 2 reveal. So I don't think we should go all in head first on this one. But there is a theory that's going around that's causing a bit of a stir. So here, on the Nintendo Switch 2 Reddit, Max Not Cool put out their theory. Why the Switch 2 reveal trailer will happen before on October 17th, or bust. And they go into great detail on the context surrounding the situation. But I'll just go over the TLDR and recommend that you go ahead and check out the whole story for yourself. It'll be linked in the description below. But here they say, I think Unity knows when the trailer will come out, and Unity specifically chose October 17th to release Unity 6 because they know it is after the Switch 2 reveal. This way, they wouldn't have to update the software 2 times very close to each other right after a major update, and they can use it for marketing to developers similar to what they did for the Vision Pro. So if you read throughout the entire post, they explain more so the reasoning behind these different things. They explain the significance of the Unity 6 big update and how they don't make smaller updates with great frequency. So if they make a big update like this on the 17th, it leads them to believe that it's unlikely that the Switch 2 is being announced anytime soon, because they would then have to put out another update regarding the Switch 2 pretty soon after. And they also discuss how Unity is a pretty big, important partner to Nintendo. And it's also why they mentioned the Vision Pro, because it's a pretty similar, comparable example in terms of what may go down. I think this is a very interesting theory, but I'd also like to say that I personally don't understand all the nuance behind everything regarding Unity 6 and all the different details and how it should be handled. So I kind of am just taking this person's word for it. Now, what they're saying is all true in terms of what has transpired, but is this how they are going to operate? That I'm unsure of, but it does seem to make some sense. However, we've seen other things in the past that seemingly made some sense and didn't actually materialize in the way we thought. For example, I thought it made a lot of sense for Nintendo to talk about the Switch 2 before Tokyo Game Show, especially if there are going to be a lot of games that would be at Tokyo Game Show that would be a part of the early launch window for Switch 2. And yet that hasn't happened. Now, I will also say that if we go back to 2016, there was a Tokyo Game Show then, and they still had the Switch reveal in October. So perhaps things could just be happening in the exact same way. And maybe Nintendo just cares more about really matching how they handled Switch 1 because it worked so well. And I'll also say, Unity chose this 17th date. Tokyo Game Show always happens in September. That's not going to all of a sudden move to late October just because Nintendo wants to reveal their console then. But Unity choosing this time to update things, there could be something to that thinking. Moving beyond this theory though, something else that I think is worth considering is that Nintendo's 6-month earnings release is on November 5th, 2024. And so I do think that there is some reason to think that maybe we're going to have to get news before this point in time. Consider that when we got the fiscal earnings release for the entire prior year, right, May 7th, that's when they gave us the actual big announcement of Switch 2, or the acknowledgement of Switch 2, the successor console, telling us that there'd be an announcement before the end of the fiscal year. And considering where we are at right now, shareholders are going to have a lot of questions. They did not have a September Direct. This is the first time they've done that in the last 8 years. There is no game from Nintendo, a published title slated for February or March. That also has not happened throughout this entire Switch generation. We are in a very weird situation, and shareholders are going to have questions. I think it is very likely that before November 5th, 2024, there is going to be some significant Nintendo news that at least gives us an understanding of what's happening for the rest of the fiscal year. Even if you're on team Switch to reveal in 2025, we still need to get some significant news from Nintendo about their software lineup for the beginning of next year. So something's coming. I don't know it's on October 10th, but I do feel really confident in saying that we probably should get some kind of news in October. But what do you all think? What do you make of these potential teases from Nintendo, if anything at all? Do you put any stake into this theory involving Unity 6? And do you also agree with me that we need to get some kind of official Nintendo game news in October? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.